You know, Tom Ford is here, and he is purely here. He fully means what he says. He's here to enjoy himself. Some players play desperately to win. Some people play for the big checks. Tom Ford is here for a good time. And don't get me wrong, he's a world-class competitor. He's absolutely here to win as well. But priority number one is he's here for the enjoyment of it. He started with 8-ball pool. He's obviously gone on to forge himself a very respectable snooker career. Jordan Shepherd, as we mentioned in the build-up to this one, has almost gone the reverse way around. But a fascinating matchup in prospect here. And if you've never seen Jordan Shepherd play, get yourself comfy and enjoy the ride. One of the most entertaining players in the world. And as you've told me before, so I know you've been to his practice facility at home as well. I think Jordan Shepherd's fun playing pool, watch him play snooker.
Yeah, it's amazing to see, to be honest. It's actually amazing to see him dedicate himself. Obviously, it makes pool slightly secondary for him, but it doesn't change what he is on the table in the pool world. He's still unbelievable, one of the best players in the world. In some ways, it adds to it, it helps him. But the transition between the two games is tricky. It isn't easy to do because we talk about it a lot, the differences in size of balls and everything else, the physics of the game. And yeah, it's just not that easy to do, and that's something he's having to really get his head around a little bit. But
yeah, nice from Tom Ford to sort of, from a professional snooker play, it almost gives him that sort of authority to say, well, yeah, I feel confident in potting balls. That's the easy bit for me, but the hard bit is getting the pattern right. Just because you're an elite level snooker player, you can make tons on the 12-foot tables and all the rest of it. Yes, the pots will feel relatively easy because it's a smaller table and all the rest of it, but there is a real art to this game.
Well, Jordan, it's not been a poor pattern here. He's just struggled with the cue ball on 2 or 3 of these shots, and now he's in a position where he just can't get on the last ball. So he's having to dig deep and go for a long double here.
Wasn't far away, but no dice. So Tom Ford, despite scratching off the break, will get opportunity in the first frame. Barry's first tournament with Ultimate Pool, the Pro Cup in December. Tom Ford beat the man in form in Tom Cousins, just to show that he is very much a danger in every draw that he's a part of. Hasn't actually found too much success beyond that, it must be said. His Pro Series tilts have had wins, but they've also had pretty early defeats. But it also just shows the standard on the tour at the moment is as high as it comes, really.
Not too taxing for him to make that counter clearance there, and a missed opportunity from Jordan Shepherd. And as we talked about earlier on in the first match, these matches are going to be so tight, but all you're doing is hoping to get enough chances to potentially win it. Well, Jordan's already had one and let one go.
So player is Tom Ford from Leicester Way. I'm sure he'll have one eye tonight, not just on this, but also on his beloved Leicester City. Decent neck of the woods, that, for Q Sports players, I hear.
There's a few world titles, yeah. Maybe more tonight.
Sheppy on the break, and he struck that one beautifully. I have a feeling, and Sheppy's glare there might have just confirmed that thought, that this is a pretty smelly leave, though, for as good as the hit was.
Yeah, it's come out pretty bad. Amazing how quickly that instinct of a pool player is that it's not nice, and it's backed up with the layout you've got here. I think you have to go yellows. The 2 yellows on the break line, they're going to be tricky. If he can get on one, though, he should be able to get on the other.
I'm not sure he's on one.
Not sure if he was trying to get across for it there and just potted it a shade on the thick side, so the cue balls come up short, but He's landed on the double only, but again, the cue ball's tricky.
It's not the world's worst result, but Tom Ford once again back at the table, which is where he wants to be.
Question for me, and the reason why I didn't like reds from the start, is simply the red below the 8-ball. How are you dealing with that one? I do not believe there's enough showing to make it into either bottom corner pocket, and therefore it's going to have to be a double if it can be, or a cannon, but the cannon is from distance, which is not ideal. So I don't like really the finish here on reds. We also know that Tom's not a big fan of the safety game. He likes to go all out.
Yeah, you can see there that red and 8-ball just haven't come apart at all. Don't think you can get through to the potting angle of that.
No, and the overhead it looked like there was nowhere near.
Oh, that's good. That's very good.
Problem was being on the next ball afterwards. Always.
I think he's got the one to the top right.
Yeah, just about. I think when he played the one to the previous one to the top right, it would have been nice for him just to leave the other one just a little when he played the shot opening him up just a smidge further off the cushion. But if he can get through to the potting angle, he has a chance. And he couldn't. So it is just a safety.
It's a pretty good one as it goes. Sheppy's also going to go. Just wonder if the lower one of those two yellows at the top of the table passes top left, because if it does, it looks like it does. I think it's not the greatest safety from Tom.
It's a plant, I think, to the top right, even if it doesn't.
That's even more helpful.
Yeah, he's now having a look there. And actually, you know, when you look back at it, maybe he was looking at some sort of speculative double. He just plant rather, but he missed it by so far. I thought he must have been trying to play safe. Jordan's short. If that yellow goes, and I'm sure it does the way he played that, you have to be past the straight. If you're not past the straight, you're going into the yellow, and you're knocking the yellow towards reds, which is exactly where he is now. He is relying on a little bit of fortune and a good cannon.
Oh, good cannon, a little bit of fortune. That'll do.
He has a shot. He's got to play around with the reds, but there is room for the 8-ball.
Played that one really well. One in the blink of an eye. The Welsh Wizard on the boards. Lovely shot that. He's actually judged that really well, you know. These two may well be flapping gums at each other for much of this evening. Plenty of back and forth. Know each other quite well. A lot of mutual respect there as well. Jordan Shepherd's an ultimate pool champion in the Pro Cup. But I think the most almost pertinent result that he had, or results that he had rather, were in the shootouts, which was an event that was a bit of a forerunner really to Ultimate Pool. Very similar format to this. Very crash bang wallop in terms of a brutal shot clock and quick races. And I mean, Jordan Shepherd was the undisputed king, really.
Brilliant break here from Tom.
I love that they're still chatting to each other, even when Tom's at the table.
We may see a fair bit of this tonight, because I know that Tom and Chris are good friends and spent plenty of time. I think they even roomed together on a few pool tournaments here and there. I think there'll be plenty of the fun and games out there. And this will be a very quick response to the break clearance of the previous frame.
Speedy visits the table, 2-1. Reminder of what we've got coming up for you next week. It's another belting group. Greg Batten, Declan Brennan, Connor Jones, and defending champion Stevie Dempsey.
Yeah, the champions of the first 2 years are still alive. Chris Melling won year 1. First tournament we had with Ultimate Pool, Chris Melling, and then Stevie Dempsey in style last year.
You know, that's a... You could argue, not that it means an awful lot, but you could argue that that's probably, on paper at least, maybe the weakest group. And you say weakest, and you've got the defending champion in it, another Ultimate Pool champion in it, a top 16 player in Greg Batten who's been deep in tournaments. I think, really, the one thing that sticks out there is Connor Jones in that group. He's the only one who has almost broken through the glass ceiling a little bit in making this stage, because he's still finding his feet in Ultimate Pool. He was a wild card for this year. He comes into this year maybe not expecting to win events, but to find his feet, see how he goes, and build towards a career. Still a young player, but he's shown he's got the game to win matches, and you just never know.
He's got the belief.
Yeah, but it stands out, doesn't it, as him being the only name who you sort of think, oh wow, well played to get through, and he did play brilliantly that night.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Came through a 3-way 6-red shootout. Rob Warren was the top seed in that group. Ooh, has that just gone awkward? And I think that yellow may just be in front of the red to the right centre. You'd love it to go to the bottom left corner now, but it doesn't. He's having a very good look. If it goes to the bottom left corner, then it's perfect, but I don't think it does. I think if it goes, he'd have already played it.
Interesting little bit on Tom is something you might be wondering tonight. Is he using the same snooker cue, the one that he, you know, the extension of his arm that he's played with for so many years and won so many matches with? The answer is no. He's using his old 8-ball pool cue, which has been remarked on by several of the current Ultimate Pool fraternity as, how on earth do you pot a ball with that thing?
Yeah.
It's a very old-fashioned 2-piece. But he can still make it work all right.
Well, I think he's decided this red does go all of a sudden, because that was the perfect angle just to nudge it open. But if it did go, why didn't he take it before? This is very, very tight. Look at that.
Yeah, rather you than me, Tom.
He's played for it. He had the opportunity to open it up. That didn't look on. Maybe he missed his cannon. Maybe he was going for a subtle cannon, but yeah, maybe he was just trying to flick it top side of the yellow. I don't know, but he's missed by... Well, I mean, he's taken a ball on that he probably didn't think went.
Oh. Yeah, these two have been talking to each other. I'm sure Tom will say something to him there. Sheppy getting away with one.
Possibly slightly overhit there, but not really a problem. Perfect line he got. So yeah, just had to make sure of the bot. The slight puff of the cheeks is because he's not come back far enough. He wanted to be, well, he's probably half ball on this, maybe 3/4 ball, and he wanted to be just off straight. And now he's worried he's not going to be able to hold for the yellow to right centre. So he might have to go left centre first, dig up and come back. Oh, he's topping it through, so yellow bottom right next ball. Yeah, a lot more cue ball movement than he really wanted to. That could have been quite simple for him.
Yeah, executed a good shot though. Oh, wow.
Slightly, having the cue ball slightly loose, as in not as precise as we normally see with Jordan Shepherd, and that's understandable almost with the way he's preparing for tournaments at the moment, but not missing balls like that. That's so unusual for a player like Jordan. It's such a surprising miss.
Yeah, that's a crazy miss, really. And could be a big moment in the night for Jordan. Tom Ford 3-1 up as we move into the 15-second shot clock part of the match. It's the final 5 minutes of the 20. And you can see there John waggling his cue around. That's well, that is a huge, huge let-off for Tom Ford, because he made a mistake in that frame. And it's one of those where you can't really even legislate for it. It's just a terrible miss.
Yeah, I mean, the cue ball wasn't as precise as normal, which is why the cue ball's moving around, but he landed really nicely there, because that was just make the pot, you'd land on the 8 ball. There was nothing really doing.
Oh, crunch. What a break.
He's crunched every break. Okay, the cue ball went in on the first one, unluckily, but all three have been absolutely crunched.
Yeah, this was an absolute howitzer. Cue ball absolutely perfect. Look at that, sitting right in the middle of the table. 8 ball was even on the move as well. Tom did say, when confronted with the question of how will you find the 15-second shot clock, with, I play less than that on a 12-foot table, so I'm not going to worry about that.
Yeah, I remember asking him about it, and he's like, I mean, everybody should be able to play 15 seconds a shot without a bother. I thought, okay, we'll find out when you turn it. But to his credit, he has never struggled with it. He is just sees it, commits to it, hits it. I think he deals with the 15 seconds better than any other player.
Yeah. Plays very, very quickly and calmly.
So not ideal to be playing a plant, and it's just off straight to play on the ball you're hitting, but yellow shouldn't move away too far, so it should be fine. Yeah,
it's just
only just off straight.
This for the win, and Tom Ford is home and hosed. A 4-1 victory over Jordan Shepherd.